Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Rebel Crone interviews. And today I'm joined once again by Dr. Cori Stern, who is one of my favorites and a very dear friend. I really respect the work she's been doing now for over 20 years in the field of helping people and animals to restore themselves back to a place of natural health and doing it in a natural way. I think it's a beautiful mission that started with her when she was very young. Dr. Cori has a private practice in New York City. She also does a lot on social media. She has a great YouTube channel that's full of different educational videos that you'll have to check out. As Dr. Cori take control of your health. Check that out. Check out her website too. Lots of good stuff. So welcome, Dr. Cori. It's good to have you back.
It's great to be back. I feel like I've come home.
Oh, yay. Well, you are, my home is your home, inside and out.
That's so
Today,
nice.
well, it's true. Today's topic we decided to talk about is how to manage stress so it doesn't affect your health. And nowadays we're in a very stressful period, which I'm sure most viewers out there are well aware of that fact. And it has a lot to do with, well, many different things, not just the political arena, but what's going on vibrationally, what's going on physically in the world, and all of that. And for me in particular, I know my nervous system tends to take a really heavy hit when I'm feeling stressed. And I'm sure it's from years of overabuse, which we're going to learn more about. So, Dr. Cori, let's go ahead and get started with, if you could give us a little bit of your background with it, and then also the important role that our nervous system plays in our body and why we need to address this.
I consider myself a stress expert, both from a personal perspective as well as being a practitioner and helping people with it for so many years. So I've actually been helping people with stressful situations since I was a child. Before I was doing what I now do, I was a therapist, but I actually started being a therapist when I was 11 years old. In fifth grade, in my classroom, I opened up a shrink's office. That's what I called it. And my classmates would come make appointments and come talk to me about their family life situations that they were dealing with. Some of them had really intense problems I wasn't quite prepared for, but it did give me experience in helping people. And the reason that I did that, what led me to be motivated to do that, was my own very challenging, difficult childhood and the suffering that I was experiencing. And I made a decision when I was 10 that if I was going to stay alive, I was going to devote my life to helping people so that they wouldn't have to suffer the way I was suffering. And I never looked back. So before we talk about the effects of stress on your nervous system, I want to actually define stress, because it's very subjective. What's stressful to one person may not be considered stressful to somebody else. So we need to actually talk about that. So I like to use the example of jumping out of an airplane, because some people do that for fun. They do it recreationally, and it's like an amazing experience. And other people are absolutely terrified at the thought of doing something like that. So what it comes down to basically is your perception of an event, not the event itself, but your perception of it. And when you find something stressful, it's because you're feeling threatened. You're feeling like you're in danger. And the issue with that is sometimes you're not actually in danger. You're just perceiving danger when it doesn't actually exist. So I want to talk you through what actually in your body when either you really are in danger or you're perceiving yourself as being in danger. So let's use an example of crossing a busy street, right? I live in New York City, so this is something that I have to do quite frequently. Crossing a busy street, you look both ways, you don't see any cars coming, and then you're in the middle of the street, and out of nowhere, a car comes barreling down and looks like it's about to hit you. Obviously, you're going to run out of the way to avoid getting hit. So what happens in your body when you experience something like that is called the fight or flight response. Most people have heard of that. In this case, you chose flight because you can't fight a car off. You know, if it was a person coming at you, you might have another choice. You might decide to fight with them if somebody was coming at you to punch you or something like that. But both of those situations represent a true threat to your life. So when you experience a danger like that or a threat, your body goes into, or your nervous system, whole body goes into a series of reactions that actually help you to survive. So, for example, your heart starts beating faster, and that pumps more blood into your extremities so that you can actually run faster or fight harder. Along with that, your blood pressure will go up. It's just a natural consequence. Your muscles will contract because that allows you to be stronger. Your digestion will shut down because it's not something that's needed in that moment to improve your chance of survival. And then some other things happen. You start breathing faster to get more oxygen into your tissues. Your pupils dilate so you can see more clearly. And some other changes in your body. So basically what's happening there is that your adrenal glands are secreting stress hormones, basically adrenaline. So most people know what an adrenaline rush feels like. And those are all the symptoms that you would experience when you have an adrenaline rush. So that could be when you're scared or when you're really, really excited. Your heart will start racing, you'll start breathing faster, your muscles will tense up, and so on. Okay, good. So that was something really functional that helped you to not get hit by a car. Great. So in a normal situation, after a few minutes, the adrenal glands will stop producing the adrenaline, everything will calm down, your body functions will go back to normal. But let's fast forward to that night. You're laying in bed, trying to go to sleep, you're trying to relax, and all of a sudden the memory of almost getting run over by a car just flashes through your head. You're having like a flashback, maybe a post-traumatic stress moment, right? Well, guess what? Your body will go through the same series of responses that it went through when you were actually running away, except this time there's nowhere to run and nothing to run from. So now all of those physical changes are not helping you. They're not increasing your chance of survival. They're actually causing a problem because now you can't go to sleep. And now your heart's beating too fast. And now your blood pressure is too high. And now your muscles are tense. And now you're starting to get a headache from that, right? Because your neck tensed up or your shoulders or your low back. And now you have pain. And your digestion has now shut down. So whatever you ate for dinner is just kind of sitting there. Now, what happens when you experience this frequently? When you're frequently remembering something that scared you, or you're frequently remembering something that feels threatening, and it could be anything. It could be not being able to pay a bill on time or being late for work. What happens when you think a lot about something that might go wrong, that's not actually happening, but that might happen, right? So for example, if you're watching this video prior to November 5th, you're worrying about the outcome of an election. And your body goes into those same stress responses that it went into when you were experiencing a true threat or danger to your survival. So we call that a chronic stress response. When you have a chronic stress response, things will start going wrong. You'll actually start having dysfunction in your body. So it might affect your ability to sleep because your nervous system is what we call upregulated. It's always on. It doesn't turn down. You know, like turning the lights off at night, your nervous system is also supposed to kind of turn down. You will have digestive issues, most likely. It's very common. You may start getting chronic headaches or muscle pain, muscle tension, pain in your shoulders, pain in your neck, pain in your back. You might start experiencing fatigue, both because your body is running faster than all your systems are running faster than they need to, so they're working harder, but also maybe you're not really sleeping well. And also, you are in overdrive and your adrenal glands are starting to get depleted. Right? They've been pumping out adrenaline, they're pumping out other stress hormones all the time, like cortisol. And now they are not working that well anymore. They're not supporting your body the way they're supposed to. And most people know if you're overproducing cortisol, that leads to a series of other issues. Your blood sugar starts going up. An immediate acute stress state, your blood sugar goes up just so to give your body more energy. When you're in a chronic state of stress and you're producing too much cortisol, cortisol stimulates the body to release sugar into your blood. So it causes your blood sugar to go up. Chronic stress can cause diabetes or elevated blood sugar. And it can cause weight gain. It can cause fat to gather around, especially around the middle of your body, and gather on your organs, creating situations like fatty liver. So all of the major lifestyle diseases, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess weight, fatty liver, metabolic disorders, all of those things can be caused by a chronic stress response.
And you look at our society nowadays, these are the number one killers. These are the number one issues right across the board, everything you mentioned.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So this is why it's so important when I'm trying to help people who have these conditions that we always need to look at stress management, always. I never neglect to evaluate somebody's stress levels, their perception of stress, and find ways of helping them to manage it better. So there's two distinct approaches that need to be taken when trying to help people to manage their stress in a way that doesn't end up making them sick. So the first thing is to really, really analyze helping them to recognize how they're perceiving situations to be stressful and teaching them habits or methods of changing their viewpoint on it, then giving them strategies to employ when they're experiencing stress. And then the other major important part has to do with nutrition. Because when you're under chronic stress, you're depleting your nutrients, especially your minerals. So I think I want to talk a little bit about minerals in a few minutes because it's a really important topic in relation to stress. And a lot of people, have an idea that magnesium helps them relax and magnesium is a mineral, but it's a lot more involved than just that. So the first part is really examining your viewpoint or your perception of stress and eliminating those things that you have no control over, right? Eliminating the worrying about things that you can't control. So, for example, if you are stuck in traffic and you're going to be late for something, there's nothing you can do about that. You're stuck.
Yeah.
So, have a strategy at that moment to help your body calm down. And one of the good strategies is something called box breathing. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
So box breathing is a breathing technique that turns off the stress part of the nervous system and turns on the relaxation part. So it's very simple. You inhale to a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, and hold your breath for a count of 4. You do that for a few cycles till you feel calm. It's really effective. I had a young man, a 21-year-old male patient in my office the other day having a panic attack. And I had him do that. And just one round of box breathing, the panic attack stopped. So that's one strategy you can employ. Let's say you're at home sitting on your couch, you're trying to relax, and you start thinking about something that's upsetting you. Well, distract yourself. Distraction is such a great tool. You have to be prepared, have a list of activities that you can do that help you to take your mind off the thing that you're worrying about. So distraction techniques are very useful in managing chronic stress. And that's just when you're thinking about something that you don't need to be thinking about or worrying about something that you can't do anything about. It's different if it's something you can do something. You can fix a thing, okay, go ahead and fix it. But when it's a thing that you can't change in that moment, play a game, watch a movie, take a Epsom salt bath, whatever it is that makes you feel better for the moment. Have a list, prepare a list ahead of time of things that make you feel nurtured, of things that make you feel relaxed, of things that are fun for you to do, things you enjoy. Have a list and go to that list every time you become aware that you're starting to worry about something.
Yeah, I start to like spinning out, and I'll do that sometimes at night trying to go to bed. So while I don't like to have a phone around my bed, sometimes it's really handy to have a little headset and I turn on maybe an inspirational audiobook, and I just set a timer with it. So I know I'll start listening to it. I get off my treadmill and I start listening
Exactly.
to it, and then I can go to sleep, or I turn on meditative music. There's beautiful, meditation music channels and stuff on YouTube in particular. Yeah, so I sometimes I just have to have something else, taking mind space and pulling me out of my stuff, to
Right.
break that cycle. And it's real
Exactly. So you're
effective.
not,
It's real effective doing it that way for me. Um,
it, it really is. I do the same. So it's literally replacing the thoughts that you're having with something else. So if you're listening to something, then you're not thinking anymore. You can also train yourself with this exercise. This is a really very effective exercise and easy to do. Every time you become aware of a thought that you don't want, a thought that's disturbing, a thought that's upsetting, a thought that is stressing you, you say the following: oops, there goes another one of those thoughts that I don't want. If I continue to think that, it's only going to make things worse, and that's not what I want. And then you give yourself an instruction to stop. And
mhm.
then you come up with a word that you like, and you say that word. So it doesn't have to be any kind of meaningful word. It can be anything. I say the word orange because I like the color orange. It can be your favorite flower. It can be, your favorite place. It could be a name. It could be, oh, It could be God, whatever you want to say. And the purpose of saying it is just to reset the thought. So you're not trying to stick a happy face sticker on a negative thought. You're not trying to talk yourself out of it. You're just training yourself to stop thinking it. And if you do that enough times, eventually you do it automatically. Oh, there goes that thought. Orange, orange. Not thinking that. That thought is not welcome here. Bye-bye. So I've been doing
The
that
old
for years.
Jedi trick, right? The old Jedi trick. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Right. So I've been doing this for
Yeah.
years, and I have found it to be extremely effective, and I've taught many people how to do this. And it's easy. It's easy. You have to keep doing it though. It doesn't happen after, your first try. You have to persist with it. So those are some of the strategies that you need to employ in order to train yourself to stop responding with your adrenal glands to every little thing. But
Yeah.
now let's talk about nutritional
Well, can I
support.
ask something about that, Dr. Corey? Because it
Sure.
seems like, because speaking from personal experience, there's an addiction involved in that. We get really addicted to the adrenal response because it's real well. We would get a rush from it. So I feel like there's kind of an addictive aspect to living life in that kind of a cycle.
Well, that segues perfectly into nutrition because you get addicted to it because you're so depleted in nutrients and minerals. Your body is not producing the relaxation hormones, the the um the feel good hormones.
Yeah.
So then what are you left with? You need the adrenaline to feel like you're alive, right?
Yeah.
So people that are adrenaline junkies usually have some kind of imbalance in their production of neurotransmitters
Mm-hmm.
that balance, the difference between feeling excited and feeling calm. So let's talk about how to actually help your body to be able to have more balance in producing the relaxation and feel good hormones so that you don't need to have the adrenaline to stay awake, right? And that's also why people drink coffee, which, by the way, caffeine is not really good for your adrenal glands, interestingly. So when your adrenal glands are very, very depleted, we do recommend that you cut out coffee for a little while until you fully recover.
Can you say that again? It kind of froze me about the problem with caffeine, with coffee.
Yeah, the adrenal glands don't really respond well to caffeine. So it's kind of a vicious cycle because when your adrenal glands get depleted, you feel fatigued and then you rely on caffeine, but then that makes your adrenals worse. So we do recommend that people try to wean off caffeine while they're working on rebuilding their adrenal gland function. A way of showing your adrenal glands a little love. Get rid of the caffeine for a little bit.
Right. So
Incorporate.
get off the caffeine. Yeah. It's just because it's an issue I know that I face with. I don't drink a lot, but it's just that little bit of matcha in the morning that jump starts everything. And if I don't do that, then I feel really down and out. But it takes me a few days to not feel down and out, to have my normal energy levels restored. But it's just it's just such an easy fix, is to grab
Right.
that little
It
cup of
is.
something. And
And
yeah.
if your adrenals are not depleted, it might be totally fine. So if you know for sure that you want to work on rebuilding your adrenals, we do recommend that you wean off your caffeine gently. Don't just stop it. You feel terrible when you do that. So
Yeah.
you literally go into withdrawal. So, but a little bit of caffeine is not bad for you as long as it's organic and your adrenals are not completely shot. So I want to talk about minerals because this is a really important part of dealing or helping your body to deal with stress. So what are minerals? Let's name some. Name some minerals.
Well, magnesium, what you said before. Magnesium, and this
Hmm.
is like a quiz. Salts,
Yeah.
potassium,
Hmm.
thinking some of the basic ones. And
Hmm.
I've got like my electrolyte supplements and my ionized trace minerals. They have a whole list of a ton of different trace minerals
Right.
in them.
Right. Right. Exactly. So yeah. So all the ones you named, and then of course there's calcium and zinc and iron and iodine and copper and boron, and there's a lot of them, right? And your body needs all of them. What do minerals do in your body? If we are going to summarize it, we can say that minerals are the key that turns the motor on to all the different organs and gland functions. So, for example,
Mhm.
your thyroid cannot produce thyroid hormone without iodine. Your blood cells cannot transport oxygen without iron. Your muscles contract and relax without salt and calcium, so on. So every single mineral turns is the key that turns the systems on. And every mineral is needed for multiple functions. So you need all the minerals. All your body systems need all the minerals to function properly. So when you're under chronic stress, there's a depletion of your minerals. Your body burns more minerals because it's on overdrive. Everything is working harder, so the motors are running faster. So you
Mhm.
need more keys to keep the motors running. Now, here's where we run into a problem. How are you making sure that you're not getting depleted in your minerals? Where do minerals come from ultimately? Do you know where minerals actually come from?
This, I imagine soil
Exactly.
and environment. Down know,
They
sun,
come
plants,
they
but
come from the
soil things.
soil. Right,
Yeah.
right. The sun helps the plants grow in the soil. The minerals go into the plants. It goes into the animals that are eating the plants. So our food is filled with minerals if it's grown in soil that's rich in minerals. How does soil get minerals? These are things that a lot, unless you're a farmer, you don't think about. How does soil get minerals in it?
Well, it's decaying other plants and animals, right?
Right, right. So
Oh, you froze up, but decaying process.
when you're farming, when you're growing things in the ground, the minerals from the soil goes into the food, and then you have to replace the minerals that came out with the food. And using things like compost and manure replaces the minerals. But how do commercial farmers fertilize their fields? They use artificial fertilizer. They use petroleum-based fertilizer that does not have minerals in it. So if you're eating commercial foods, you are not replenishing your minerals with your food, period. Not only that, but you're eating poison. If you're not eating exclusively from a farm that grows food in nutrient dense soil, you're nutrient deficient. If you're chronically stressed, you're more nutrient deficient. Okay, particularly in minerals and in also possibly in fat, because your nervous system needs fat to work properly. Every single nerve in your body is coated in fat. Every single cell in your body has a fat layer covering called a phospholipid layer. So a lot of people are not eating enough good quality fat or food that is rich in minerals. So in order for you to be able to not have a chronic stress response, you have to replete the nutrients that you're deficient in, or your body can't handle it. It won't, nothing you do will help. The box breathing might help you feel better for a minute. The distraction might distract you for a minute, but you're not going to recover physically,
Mhm.
especially if this has been going on for a while. So I do have some recommendations as far as the best choices to make to supplement your food, because you can't correct deficiencies with food alone. You should start eating a clean, nutrient-dense diet, and I can give you a resource for that, at least in the United States. I have resources in other countries as well. But most people will need to take some supplements like you are, your trace minerals, your electrolytes. So first of all, make sure you're eating salt, good quality salt. Salt is an essential nutrient. Medical doctors will tell you to avoid salt. You should not avoid salt. You really need salt. Your adrenal glands need salt. For people that get really lightheaded when they stand up suddenly or go from laying down to standing and they feel really lightheaded, that's your adrenal glands kind of tanking for a minute, causing your blood pressure to drop. And it's usually a salt deficiency.
Mm.
That's one of the ways you can know. So we do recommend that most people take at least a quarter teaspoon of good quality salt, sea salt, pink salt, Redmond's brand salt, in an 8-ounce glass of water per day. Some people prefer to put the salt under their tongue, whatever works for you, or use good quality electrolytes.
I heard Dr. Cori to do this like before 8 o'clock in the morning. Does it matter what time of day that you do some extra salts?
I haven't seen it matter, but what I like to tell people to do is try it at different times and see how they feel best, right?
Yeah.
Because different bodies need different things. There's usually never one answer to a question like that. It's, I like to go body by body. And you can keep a little journal for yourself and make notes about how you feel. And that will, if you do that for a week and look back over it, you'll say, oh, look, every time I took my salt in the morning, I felt better that day than when I took it at night or whatever. I'm going to share some of my favorite supplements, but also some other things that are helpful for managing stress in the moment. So this is a fish oil. It's a fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids that's rich in DHA. So omega-3 fatty acids have two primary components, DHA and EPA. DHA is the part that helps your nervous system relax more. So if you're chronically stressed, if you're upregulated, if you're nervous, if you're having trouble sleeping, if you're having anxiety, nervousness, you probably want to take a DHA, pro DHA formula. This also has EPA in it, but it's more DHA than EPA. This company also has a pro EPA formula, and we tell people to take EPA when they're feeling really depressed. So EPA is like helping to turn the lights on in your brain and feel more cheerful. Chronic stress and mineral depletion can cause anxiety symptoms, can cause depression symptoms, insomnia, can cause a lot of mental symptoms. This one is my favorite stress minerals. They're called Minchecks, and I don't know if you can see on the label, it says eases the effects of stress. But basically what's in there are the minerals that your body primarily needs when you're having chronic stress. These are the most important minerals that you'll get depleted in first. And there is magnesium in there along with some other minerals. And my nickname for this supplement is Chill Checks. So I call them my chill pills. But look, I just took one just before we started, not because I was stressed, but just because I take it every morning and I don't feel sleepy. It doesn't make you sleepy. It doesn't make you feel like, it's not like taking a drug. It's not like, it doesn't knock you out. It just helps to help your body to deal with stress better. I have a very stressful lifestyle. I run a business in New York City. I have a special needs son, adult son that lives and works with me. I'm a widow. I have a senior dog that I take care of myself. I have a YouTube channel. I travel around the country teaching. I rely on my min checks to help my body deal with it. I don't know what I would do without it. I've been taking it for years. The next thing I want to talk about is a stress management homeopathic called Fields of Flowers. And this is flower remedies. A lot of people have heard of flower remedies. This is 38 flower essences, which help you to feel calm when you're in the middle of a situation. So it could be something that's real, that's happening. You're going through a difficult divorce, or, your spouse just left you, or you just got bad news, or you just found out your parent is sick, something that is really a difficult life situation. Or it could be one of those situations where you're just thinking about something that's upsetting you. It doesn't matter. Taking these flower essences helps to neutralize it. Again, you don't feel groggy, you don't feel like going to sleep, it doesn't knock you out. You don't, nothing like that. You just go from feeling agitated or crying or to, I'm okay, I can deal with this. And you could take it as much as you want. You can't overdose on it. So I keep an open bottle on my, counter. I keep an open bottle in my office. When I'm going through rough times, I take that. It really does help me a lot. When you're going through really rough times, no, that's not the one I was going to say. When you're going through really rough times, this is a homeopathic that's really strong. So it says agitation, shock, and fear on it. So this would be you just got really bad news. You're in shock because you just found out something terrible. Or you're in the middle of having a panic attack. So this is one of the things that young man that I mentioned earlier that I had to teach him the box breathing. He was having a panic attack in my office. We had him do the box breathing, and then we opened a bottle of this for him. So this is like for more like emergency situations. This one, Relax Tone, is just what it sounds like. It's a homeopathic that just helps you relax. It helps with stress. It helps with muscle tension and mental tension. Can help with headaches. It can help with sleep, things like that. So it relaxes you physically and mentally. This one, I find sometimes it relaxes me too much. I don't generally take this at work unless I'm really like in pain or something like that, but I will take it at night if I need it. And then the last one is something really amazing. This is called ME support, and ME stands for mental emotional support. So what's basically in here is chamomile and lavender, but that's not what's actually helping you. This supplement is made with frequencies. It has frequency imprints on it, and the frequencies are calming. They help you recover from trauma. They help with post-traumatic stress disorder. They help with, you're in the middle of an agitating situation, whatever it is. I can't even explain how this works. It's amazing. You're in the middle of a freak out and you take this and suddenly it's like the world looks like a different place. It's a really powerful frequency supplement. It's the only one I know of its kind. I have a video on this on my YouTube channel. So those are my recommendations in a nutshell. You have to learn some techniques for distracting yourself, learn some techniques for calming yourself down and engaging in an activity that distracts you. You have to eat a clean, nutrient-dense diet. You need to probably take some supplements. And of course, the basics like drinking enough water, getting some exercise, doing some grounding, fresh air, all of that also help to help the body to down regulate the nervous system. Getting some sunlight, being out in nature. There are literally studies that show that spending some time in nature every day down regulates the nervous system and improves your immune system, because chronic stress also depletes your immune system. I
Yep.
had mentioned.
There we
Yeah.
go. Dr. Cori, sorry, you froze up, so I'm going to just talk because I don't know if you can hear me or not, but
Yes,
the
I
whole
can.
thing of I was thinking with oh good with aging and adrenal fatigue is that it doesn't get better. In fact, you talk a little bit about how exhausted our adrenals get all over time, and just the adrenal. I mean, I can't remember what the name, but there's different levels of adrenal fatigue, right?
Right, right. And also in postmenopausal women, your adrenals are working harder because now your ovaries are not producing estrogen anymore, or they're producing very little estrogen. Your adrenals are, they produce DHEA, which is a precursor to estrogen. And because they're not getting the feedback from the ovaries, they're working harder to try to help with the low estrogen situation.
Oh, we
So
were doing
postmen
really well there. Sorry, we were doing really well, and you froze up. So the DHEA that the adrenals produce
is a
to help build
precursor.
estrogen. Yeah.
It's a precursor to estrogen. And because the feedback is not coming in from the ovaries, or not sending the message to the adrenals, like we have enough estrogen here, the adrenals are working harder to produce DHEA to try to correct the low estrogen situation.
Yeah.
So if your adrenals are already depleted prior to menopause, now they're going to get more depleted. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. How long does it usually take to start to sort that out to get back in balance to see if you're coming from a place of real depletion? Like, can you give people like a time frame that they could sort of wrap their heads around? Because this isn't a fast fix, is it? I mean, this.
We always say that you have to start with a 120-day cycle. That's to that's based on how long your cells live. So let's say that your adrenal cells are pretty beat up. We have to grow new ones. We have to grow healthy ones. Your cells live for about 120 days. So we need to give it at least 120 days to grow enough healthy new tissue to make a difference.
So that's about 4 month cycle approximately.
Yes, yes. And some
Yeah.
people take longer, and some people
Yeah.
are fast healers.
Yeah.
Quick summary is I'm going to give you the link to the clean, nutrient dense food that people can find in the US, because that's step one. Always step one is clean up your diet, always. And then step two, start taking a few good quality supplements to correct your deficiencies. If you need specific help, you can contact me. We can actually get you started on a program that's specific for your body. I also have a video about adrenal health on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out. I can give you a link to that if you want to share with your viewers. And then last, after this video, sit down and make a list of all the activities that you could engage in that will help you to distract yourself, to calm yourself down, to nurture yourself, to help yourself manage your stress better and change your perspective on what's really important, what's really dangerous to you in this moment, and what really isn't in this moment. Take some good quality supplements, make a list for yourself of activities that you can do to distract yourself, to nurture yourself, to have fun with. And I said, and evaluate what's really a danger or threat to you, what's really important, and what don't you have control over that you can just eliminate from your universe so that you're
So you're
not.
saying is like a reality check.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
give you, okay, perfect, perfect. Well, I'm sorry, but our connection is a little going in and out a little bit today. So if the recording has a few little places where it jumps around, we apologize for that, but I'm sure the message has come through loud and clear. And I appreciate how you make things very simple and easy to understand, Dr. Cori, and also just a real gracious way that you go about your how you're thinking about health, as opposed to somebody coming in and just very aggressively and all these things to do that can be overwhelming. You always lay things out in these very doable steps. I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, yes, I can do that. I can do those 3 4 things that you just mentioned that I could do today, so thank you for making it easy for us to regain our health back. Oh my gosh, it's so important. We talk about we want our spiritual development and our whole connection, a holistic approach. But if your body's not right, your mind doesn't have a chance to get realigned. I mean, I always feel that way. If you've got a sick body, your mind is only going to be able to go so far with it because it's not getting the nutrients it needs for proper function. And we don't have the ability to control it, as we supposed to use it as a tool. And the whole thing just doesn't, this whole thing just does not work. So,
And it lowers your frequency when your body is not working properly or when you're sick, when you
yeah.
don't feel well. Yeah.
And lower frequency doesn't equal higher thoughts. And we all need the highest and best and clearest and refined thoughts as possible nowadays. I mean, that is most important. And all of watching the Rebel Crone, that's all I like to talk about is raising our vibration. So
Right.
this is really, really key to it. And thank you for going off into the adrenal thing. That's like my own kind of personal thing, nervous system and adrenals and all those organs and systems that make us or help us be capable to deal with life.
My pleasure. I'm glad we made it through the end of the video.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cori. And if you send me those links, I will include them. If you go to description on this video, you'll have all the different links to our YouTube channel. On our website, you'll find the different supplements. And then also you want to send me the video link to a few of the videos that are pertinent to today's discussion would be great.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, have a beautiful day. And I hope that it's not as
Too.
cold there as it is here.
It's really warm. It's like summer.
Oh, goodness gracious. No, winter just hit. We're now in the freezing temperatures at night. So yay. New season, new opportunity.
Sorry. Right.
Thank you, Dr. Cori. As always, everybody, peace from within, and may you stay healthy to stay wise.